Saints quarterback Derek Carr talks getting hot at the right time and eliminating mistakes. The one and only Derek Carr. So many interviews we've reacted to. I'm sure this one will go about the same way. I can already tell from the title of the video. I'm not going to be happy at certain quotes here from Derek. Let's get to it. Oh, this is from NewOrleans.football. Thought I should mention where the clip comes from. Check out all their stuff for the most detailed Saints coverage.
You feel like your performance lately has been at all tied to like playing without physical pain?
Oh man,
What a question. We're leading off with a nice fastball down the middle, 88 miles an hour, straight down the middle. Take a swing, Derek. Question is, do you think you're playing better not injured? Unbelievable breaking journalism here.
Maybe not without pain. Okay, like I know you guys are all dealing with stuff, but
no, I'm with you. It's just no matter how I answer that, it would seem like an excuse for earlier or something. It's just tough, man. I will say I'm feeling better. Usually at this, we were just laughing, a couple of us, at this end of the year, you're usually, your body's going like this, and I felt like the last couple of weeks my body's going like this.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt about it. I'm not going to say it's the reason for an unsuccessful season, but Derek has been pretty banged up all year. I mean, he's had about 8 different injuries. Some of them seem pretty severe. AC sprain, multiple concussion situations, broken ribs, fractured sternum. So, yeah, I'm sure if he's not dealing with any of that, I'm sure he is feeling pretty good.
Makes you realize, or wonder how bad was it really, And so I am feeling better. But everyone's also doing the right thing more often, and there's a lot that goes into that. So ever since that Green Bay game, it's been a struggle. I've been honest about that. It's been a struggle for me physically. But
who is this guy? What's going on here? Who is it? Can y'all see this guy? Just popped into the frame. Is this guy late to the party? Did this guy stop at PJ's, get himself a cup of coffee? 10 minutes late to the Derek Carr interview, so he's throwing his microphone up there. What's going on here, young man? What's happened? I mean, we're going into week 18. Okay, can't be having these mistakes. Also, I say this all the time. Why do they force the players to interview in a wind tunnel? I feel so bad for the media who has to put their microphones up there, and they're thinking the whole time, like, this is great. We're basically filming inside of an airplane hangar, and I gotta hope I have audio.
The last, I don't know the weeks, but I have felt better. And
get out of the shot. Get on out of the shot, young man. Get the microphone on the stage and go.
Hopefully that continues because we're going to need it, especially against this team.
You feel like it's synced up as well as it has this season in terms of play calling, execution, everybody understanding what they're supposed to be doing?
I would say the last half of the year has been a lot better. It's been a lot better, and I think we continue to improve. And that's always time on task. Players getting to know each other. We've talked a big deal about this year about communication with me and a few guys, and I just feel like all that's growing and getting better, and that's a great sign. It really is.
That's a polarizing answer because a lot of people are going to hear that and be like, I don't care. Kumbaya this. I don't care if y'all are playing cranium after the games. It doesn't matter to me. Get the results, right? But I will say I think there's something to it. I mean, there is something to a veteran quarterback coming in to a new locker room, getting to know a locker room that's been pretty much the same for a long time, and that all kind of gelling. I think that is important. I mean, I really do. I think moving forward, if Derek Carr is the starting quarterback next year, which spoiler alert, he will be. If he's the starting quarterback next year, the relationships and the timing and the communication and all that stuff built during this year, it will be much improved next year. And I mean, that is a positive. So I know people hate when he says that, but I think there is something to it. We saw it with Aaron Rodgers last year in Green Bay. He had a bunch of rookie wide receivers, and he even said it took him a while to kind of communicate to those guys, took him a while to kind of get everything lined up, the timing and whatnot. So it is something that happens.
It is. That's a great sign for things to come, but we're not done yet. We still got one more promise to us, and we're trying to earn more. So
yep.
I definitely think the last half of the year has been better. We've improved, and we've started to do things where I think that what it's supposed to look like, here for the future.
I agree. Look, the offense is not good. The offense is certainly not all of a sudden fixed. But compared to what they were at the beginning of the year, the offense is better. And that's kind of sad because I would put the offense right now in the category of just competent. Just they can move the ball sort of kinda. At the beginning of the year, it was hopeless. It was not a functioning offense. It was a broken offense. You know, if it was a car, it had no tires. Couldn't move. Couldn't get out of the driveway. Now, it can go about 30 miles an hour. But look, that's a huge difference, right? Like getting it out of the driveway, driving it down the street a little bit. Can you take it on the interstate? No, right? Are you going to race it? No. But it can get you down to the grocery store and back.
Is it a control mindset this week? I mean, obviously, nothing matters unless you guys win.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. Is it doesn't matter unless we win the game.
Yep.
And so, you would love to be able to sit there and think of all the scenarios and all that kind of stuff, but you'd just be wasting your time, not getting ready for what actually matters. And so, for us, you are what you earned in this league. This is what we've earned. And, for us, the mindset is the same it's been the last few weeks, man. It's playoff mentality. It's win or go home for us. And so
that is good for the Saints. That for them, it's pretty simple. Win the game. That's it. If you don't win the game, nothing else matters. There's no point in talking about Carolina beating Tampa. There's no point in talking about Seattle losing or Green Bay losing or whatever. You got to win. So for them, it does allow them to really kind of hyper-focus in on these 4 quarters. Look, this is season on the line playoff type football. This has to be all hands on deck. This has to be your best game at home. Finish the story. Finish the season. Beat Atlanta. Playoffs, that'll happen, if it happens. But you got to beat Atlanta. So for them, they could not be more motivated, could not be more focused on this game. Biggest rival, embarrassed you on Thanksgiving, ruined my Thanksgiving, well documented. You get them at home to end the season and potentially win the division, potentially make the playoffs. How much more motivation do you need? I say all that to say this. If they come out there and lay an egg, if they come out there and don't perform very well, if they come out there with a bad game plan or whatever else, that's even more like, what are we doing? Because if you have all this motivation, if you have all this focus, all these factors, and you can't deliver a strong performance there, very concerning. If we deliver a strong performance and we don't make the playoffs or win the division or whatever, okay, at least we did our part. But we have to do our part.
We're playing a team this week that beat us.
No, I didn't beat you, Derek. Didn't beat you. Ruined my Thanksgiving. Okay, made it hard for me to even look at my plate of dirty rice, turkey, sweet potato casserole, green bean casserole, multiple rolls, multiple cranberry sauce, the gelatinous can mold of cranberry sauce. I don't want anything. I don't want chutney. Okay, I don't want some fancy cranberry dressing with thyme and herbs in it. I want the gelatinous goo. That's what I want, Derek.
On Monday morning, or Sunday night after the game, I don't know what will. We got a great challenge in front of us to, try and beat somebody that we didn't beat earlier this year.
Yeah.
Hey, Derek, when you go back and it comes down to the last game of the season, do you kind of think back to some games that you kind of wish, like, man, we let that one get away, or you just kind of don't worry about that?
I mean,
I would assume y'all couldn't hear that question. He was kind of soft-spoken, and we were also in the middle of a Category 2 hurricane winds there. He asked, when it comes down to the last game of the season and you're up against it like this, do you look back at some games that you blew? Do you look back at some of the games you let slip away, and do you wish you would have had them back?
I'm sure we will. You always do at the end of the year, after everything. You say, man, that one or that one. But, I'm just so proud of the growth that we've made to fight back to have this opportunity, and that's really how we've been looking at it, man. We just, we put ourselves in that position, but we fought back and earned the right to be playing for something, at the end of the year. And so it didn't start how we wanted to start, but it's starting to look like how we want it to look like. And so hopefully we can take care of business this week, and we can't control anything outside of that. And like I said, that's what we've earned. But it is getting better. It has improved a lot, especially in some situational things. But yeah, that's it.
Does it matter to you if the Tampa Panthers game doesn't get shown on the scoreboard while you guys are playing? Are you even
I don't even want to know.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way. That's the difference between a fan and a player right there. The idea that during the game they're looking up at the scoreboard as they're trying to beat the Falcons, they're game tracking the Panthers. Like a coach may be doing that, a coach may be checking the score, but I highly doubt Derek Carr will be checking the ESPN Gamecast during huddles.
Yeah, I don't even want to know. I don't know if they'll show it. I don't know how that stuff goes.
You don't have control over that.
I don't have control. I may be able to pull a few strings playing quarterback, but no, I don't want to know any of that. I just want.
You know what strings I would like you to pull, Derek, as quarterback? Like getting us first downs, completing passes on third down, completing passes in the red zone, getting us wins. If you could pull those strings, I'm not as worried about what they show on the Jumbotron. I'm more focused on, like winning the division. I'm more focused on beating Green Bay, beating teams that we should beat, beating Minnesota when they have Josh Dobbs. I'm kind of focused on that, beating Atlanta after a bye week. So things like that, I would like you to pull those strings, less of the AV situation. That's audio-visual, ladies and gentlemen.
Again, our guys should be focused on the task at hand, because if we're worried about those things, Atlanta's way too good of a team to,
Atlanta's
gotta be
garbage.
Thinking 100% on. You can't. Do
They're
that.
complete
would come in here
trash.
and beat us by 40. We start thinking about that.
God.
And so, our mindset has to be completely and solely on Atlanta and winning our game, and then, hopefully hear some cheers in the stands afterwards.
With the red zone stuff, I know DA mentioned, one of the things they found was like, okay, getting from the 25 to the 10 was a big factor in being more efficient. Is that something, like a coaching point that you've had to kind of look at and say, okay, I can adjust some of the things that I'm doing to, because it seems like, I think 11 of the last 13, they've all come inside the 10-yard line, and obviously that's worked out for you.
Yeah, it has worked.
All right, they're asking about red zone success. How has that changed versus the beginning of the year? What's the difference?
And I think, honestly, I really believe, man, the biggest thing that we've gotten better at is we're not hurting ourselves with penalties. When we would get in that fringe area.
Wrong. The main thing that y'all are helping yourself with is you're not calling the same routine, easy, safe, little baby, timid, tip-tap-toe plays. We're actually calling plays. We're throwing to the tight ends. We're throwing in the middle of the end zone. We're getting the ball to our playmakers. We're not just throwing jump balls and running the ball into the offensive line. Okay, we're not doing that. That's the big thing. We are. Man, what a look on this is the look on Derek's face right now is me watching every game this season so far. That's the biggest issue. We weren't running a functioning offense. We weren't running stylistically, word of the day, an offense that we need to be running. Now it's totally different. Now we're getting tight ends involved. There's a lot more motion. There's a lot more play action. There's a lot more creativity. Within the 10, we're throwing screens to Chris Olave, letting him try and get in there. We're moving Alvin Kamara around. It's not just Jamal Williams up the gut, fade route, field goal. Like that's what it was. When you get a penalty, it makes it difficult because a penalty doesn't really line up with Jamal Williams up the gut, Taysom up the gut, kick a field goal, right? Doesn't really line up with fade routes and all this other stuff. So once they kind of broke out of that super safe style, what do you know? When you took some chances, when you play like an offense in 2023, you have a little success.
Yeah, and then you get whatever the penalty is. We get a intentional grounding, a holding, an offensive whatever. That's really hard to make up those yards as you get tighter, And so I think that's been an improvement for us. The closer you get, the easier it is. It's going to be percentage-wise to score in our league. And so, you try your best in decision-making and all those things that, way out here, you don't always have to throw it in. You like to throw them in from there, but you can also, take a route that gets you inside the 10 and keep playing the game. And so there's a lot of that, definitely from depending on the play and the situation that comes on, my plate for sure.
What do you think of Jamal's game having to kind of step up when AT went down?
Well,
I can't wait to hear this answer because Jamal did virtually nothing. He had 20 carries for like 50 yards. He averaged, 3.5 yards a carry, maybe even less?
DA always picks somebody to break the team down, every day after practice. And one of the breakdowns last week was Jamal, because one, we all love him. He shows us every day how much this means to him. And one of the things he said, now I may use different words than he used.
Sure.
One of the things that he says is, I'll run through somebody's face for y'all. Like, that's not for me. And that was so powerful.
Yeah, as long as that person's face is within about 3 yards, because most of the runs have been 1, 2, or 3 yard runs. So if the person's face that he's running through is 8 yards down the field, he'll never get there. So in order for him to run through whoever's face, quoting him, not, whoever's face he's running through, it better be at the line of scrimmage, because that's pretty much what Jamal Williams has been doing all year long, is 1, 2, and 3 yard runs. So,
Of a statement, so selfless. And when he got in the game, that's exactly what he did. And so you say something like that when you break the team down, then you go prove it to your teammates, and he's not pointing at himself. He's not, man, he's hugging his brothers. He's excited, like, because everyone's jumping, like he got the team going. So it was really cool to see that come to fruition for sure.
After hearing Derek's answer, and I asked you, what do you think Jamal Williams' game was? What do you think his stats were? You'd say like 20 carries for 140 yards, 3 touchdowns. You would have thought he had game of his life. Guy had 50 yards on 20 carries. I mean, like, come to fruition, brother. That's kind of like what that's the theme with a lot of these answers, is that they're celebrating virtually nothing. They're celebrating these like pretty average performances or average results. Come to fruition, like if 20 carries for 56 yards or whatever it was a selfless performance, and he had the team on his back and whatever else. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to see a little bit more of the fruition.
Derek, I know you've talked about team ascending at the right time, and this is the time. Do you feel like the steps are there right now? Like this team is getting to that point where maybe it could turn into something special here at the end of the year.
I mean, I do. We've earned that position to where we are getting better at the end of the year. But the fact is we have done some really, really good things at a really, really high level for the last few weeks. And
so, listen, let me preface this, or some of my friends would say, let me preface this. I think the Saints are playing better. I said that at the beginning of the video. They're playing better stylistically. They're playing better, with their plays and the scheme and the game plan and all that stuff. It does look better. With that being said, we are 2 weeks removed from Thursday Night Football against the Rams, where we pretty much got dressed down in front of the entire the nation, everyone watching, 20 million people. Al Michaels was getting sick to his stomach having to watch the game. Like, I understand that the Bucs game was cool beans. I understand the Bucs game was fun. Everyone enjoyed that. People enjoyed beating Tampa Bay. But, it's not like we're on a run here, a 6-7 game winning streak of just ascending. We are right there. It wasn't too long ago that we had Puka Nacua forcing Alontae Taylor to be benched. It wasn't too long ago that it was 30-7 in prime time with the season on the line. Like, all this talk about earning the right to be here and earning the right to be playing this game and, ascending, and, the team has played so good recently, that's why we're in this position. I don't buy that. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I just don't buy that, because they didn't earn the position to be here. If anything, they have disappointed to the point to where they have to be in this situation. And barring a bunch of miracles, barring Seattle and Chicago losing and Carolina beating the Buccaneers, like, barring all that stuff, they're not getting hot at the right time. Their season's about to be over. So unless getting hot at the right time, I'm filming this on a Friday morning. We're 3 days away from the season being over, barring some miracle. So it's one of those things where it's kind of like the Mickey Loomis interviews, where they're saying these things and they do sound cool, but they've ran out of time. Like, we're doing things right. We're trending in the right direction. The direction that we're trending in is the season's over. So, just like Demario Davis talking to the Storm after the Buccaneers game and trending in the right direction here, and Mickey Loomis talking about we've got a lot of football to play and all that stuff, like, those are just cliches that you hear. We should be hearing those cliches in week 4. What we should be hearing right now from Derek is that we shouldn't be in this situation. That's what he should say. That's the truth. The honest truth is that the Saints should not be in the situation they're in right now. They didn't earn the right to be in this situation. They didn't, pick themselves up and do all this stuff to earn the right to be in this spot. And, this is what they've worked towards. They should not be in this. Bottom line, they should have already won the division. They should have already clinched the division. They should already be planning to host a playoff game. The starters should be sitting in this game, and that should be it. Because we shouldn't have lost to a Josh Dobbs-led Minnesota. Minnesota in a must-win playoff game, pretty much, against Green Bay, played Jaron Hall over Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs wasn't even the backup. Nick Mullins was the backup. Josh Dobbs, I don't think, was in the stadium. And Josh Dobbs lit us up. Okay, we shouldn't have lost to Green Bay. We shouldn't have lost to Atlanta. We shouldn't have lost these games. So, hearing that, we did what we had to do to be in this situation, it just falls short to me. Because this is whether we make the playoffs or not, whether Carolina beats Tampa, whether Seattle and Green Bay lose, whatever, being in this situation is disappointing, and they should have been better to where this wasn't the case. We shouldn't be 8-8 right now. All right, like we should not be flirting with 500 with the schedule we had and the talent we have on the roster. So I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things where you look at the last 4 games, you look at this last stretch, and to look at that and say, we're getting hot, or we're picking up steam, or we're doing all the stuff that earned us the right to do this. I mean, this is that short-term thinking that I don't agree with. You can't just look at the Tampa game and say, see, look, guys, we're trending in the right direction. Because then you just take one look back before that, and you're staring at a 30-7 deficit against the Rams, and you get your top cornerback of the game benched. What about then? Like, there's no way you can look at the Rams game and be like, yeah, see, we're trending in the right direction. Look at us, we're trending right in the right direction of getting completely blown out and losing our season in prime time.
Last half of the year, really, we've just constantly been doing this, and this is the perfect time to get really hot and go, but not all of that's in our control. We have to focus on the Falcons, focus on the mistakes that we made in that game, and focus on how can we be better this time, improve this time against them, and do things better this time. And so I'm sure they'll have a wrinkle or two. It's they're playing for a lot too, and so we got to be ready for that. We got to be on everything, make sure that we're on it in that aspect. But this would be a great time, to put it all together for sure.
When you're looking at what you can do better from that game, does it really just boil down to the red zone, or are there other things you?
The Falcons game.
I mean,
the Falcons game. Yeah, we kicked 6 field goals, or we attempted 6 field goals, and Carr threw a pick 6. Like, yeah, there's a lot we could do different in that game.
Those were the things that really stood out, especially with how it ended up. Jesse making that great play on me down in the red zone. Taysom's play. He's a guy that they've been trusting him here for years. 7 years, and so.
Besides the last 4 games, we haven't trusted Taysom at all for some reason.
Uncharacteristic things that you don't want to have happen. You try your best all week in practice. You got to be mindful. You got to make sure you're taking care of the football, all that kind of stuff, and really lock in on those things that you go back through your notes. Okay, I gotta focus on this week. From my corrections that I made from the first game, you focus on it big time during practice and make sure you're reminding yourself of those things. So if we can clean that stuff up, we all obviously have to do the other stuff good too, but if we can clean those things up, it's usually been a recipe that's been good for us, the last few weeks.
There you go. Derek Carr before the Falcons game, potentially before the end of the regular season. Let me know in the comments below, ladies and gentlemen, what you think about that. What you thought about Derek's answers. I will see you in the next video.